Welcome to the Scandinavian Mind podcast, our weekly show about how technology is changing the creative industries. Today on the program, tech innovators at Copenhagen Fashion Week. We are back from summer and report from the latest edition of Copenhagen Fashion Week and CIFF, the Copenhagen International Fashion Fairs. We are speaking with Anne-Marie Mondrup, co-founder and COO of BetterChoice, Daniel Di Benedetto, Regional Director Euro North at Centric Software, and Kata Börönte, XR Project Manager at Mond. We will talk about using tech to get rid of greenwashing, the rise of data depth and how to handle it, and a no bullshit VR experience shedding light on the unethical fast fashion industry. My name is Konrad Olsson, editor-in-chief and founder of Scandinavian Mind, and I'm here with our senior editor, Johan Magnusson. How are you, Johan?
Yeah, I'm very good. And what about you?
I'm good. I'm back, hitting the ground running, as they say. I think we all had a good summer break, but we also are, as people have noticed, already busy producing content and events. Already in the beginning of August, we both of you came back from Copenhagen a little over a week ago, where we hosted the seventh edition of Transformation Conference and the first one in Copenhagen. We're super happy about that. So maybe we should start there. Of some impressions of Transformation Conference in Copenhagen. I was on stage most of the time, as per usual. Johan, you were in the audience. What were your sense of the Copenhagen crowd?
Yeah, the best edition so far in terms of content, and also great feedback during the day and afterwards, and also great networking session afterwards, gathering industry insiders and the tech innovators.
It really makes you want to do more events in Copenhagen for sure. You know, we're no stranger to collaborating with CIFF. I think we've been doing it now for 4 or 5 seasons. So that's no news, but it's the first time we bring our kind of flagship event, Transformation Conference. And I agree. I was really happy with the content, and there we have so many good panels and conversations to share in the podcast feed in the weeks to come. It also, gave me so much energy to go into the Stockholm event, which happens next week. As people of following our feeds know, it's on August 27, and we're back at Stockholm Fashion District with many of the same speakers as in Copenhagen, but also a few new ones. There's still a few seats left. So if you hear this ahead of the event, sign up now. Go to scandinavianmind.com, and I'm sure the invite pops up right away. Just click there and sign up. But Johan, let's talk a little bit about this edition of CIFF. I was kind of energized coming into the show this time around. Someone said it was their biggest show in a few years. It seemed very vibrant, lots of exhibitors. What were your overall impressions to begin with?
Yeah, the trade fair is not at all dead, and as we've discussed in this podcast before, we will see a few important meeting places growing bigger and bigger, while the smaller ones are struggling. We see it for the interior design fairs, fashion events, fashion trade fairs, and in other industries. Next weekend we will have the biggest art event in Copenhagen, and they have the time of their life at the Chart. I just met their representatives in Stockholm a few days ago. So the bigger ones, they are flourishing and proving that, of course, the physical meeting is something else. And yeah, for this edition, I couldn't agree more. A great mix of fashion and also more and more beauty brands showing. Also a great mix of certain collaborations with this time a German initiative gathering leading and emerging German designers on site. And it was a lot to see, and 3 days is never enough at CIFF.
There was one thing that was kind of alarming to me, and that was kind of the lack of sustainability exhibitors, or the sustainability topic overall seemed kind of non-present in a way. I don't know. What were your impressions of that?
Yeah, definitely. And I think it's two sides of it. Of course, CIFF, I'm sure that they're working on being a leading player also in terms of sustainability. But also, the exhibitors need to show interest in showing up at such a marketplace or meeting place, because it's not for free to be an exhibitor there. It costs a bit or quite much. So it's hard to say who to sort of blame in this sense. But yeah, I did lack a lot of sustainability as well.
But I also think it's kind of a probably it's a multifaceted problem. I am surprised that the kind of organizers are not like pushing sustainability kind of exhibition or the likes. We've seen many examples of that in the past. I do think also, and this is something we touched on in the conversations at Transformation Conference, we're in a kind of trough right now when it comes to the sustainability issue in the fashion industry, because everyone's kind of waiting for what the EU is going to say with the new legislation. There is this Green Claims Act that is happening, where you really have to, once you start communicating any kind of sustainability agenda as a fashion brand, you really have to show the proof for it, which has created this kind of huge green hushing trend in the industry. We've talked about that before. We are on the receiving end of a lot of the press releases from fashion brands, and since the last 12 to 18 months, no fashion brand is sending a sustainability themed press release anymore, because they don't dare to, because they don't know exactly what to expect from the new legislation. Will they be liable, and so forth. So in a weird way, and we should mention also, I mean, we do have the Global Fashion Summit, the Global Fashion Agenda, happening in Copenhagen in the spring, which may take some thunder away from traditional trade shows like CIFF. So I mean, the conversations are definitely happening. We are hosting Transformation Conference, so I know sometimes we don't see the forest for all the trees. We may be too close to it. We are there doing it, but there is some kind of hesitation in the market. I would sense right now from a fashion perspective.
It's also worth noting that it also depends on what kind of meeting place CIFF aims to be, because in their world, I would say, yeah, not to talk bad about us, but their biggest or their most important visitors is of course the buyer, and that's why that's the most important, at least for the exhibitors, and the buyers are, of course, facing really tough times now. And also for CIFF, the Swedish buyers are super important. And if you're aware of the current situation in Sweden now, it's very expensive to go to Denmark. So this edition of CIFF, we saw buyers only going over the day, or they even slept in Malmö, right across the bridge in Sweden, because of it's so expensive now to be in Denmark. And the buyers, they won't have time to, unfortunately, they should, but they're not working with charity. They won't have time while at CIFF to sit for 1 hour, 2 hours and listen to like a sustainability talk. We did see that during Transformation Conference as well. We didn't see that many buyers, because they're, of course, busy with a very, very tight schedule. And CIFF needs to act on that, and they are there for the buyers to a large extent. So, yeah.
In traditional Scandinavian mind fashion and in traditional Johan Magnusson fashion, we of course scoured the show for some of the most interesting players when it comes to new innovations. And beginning with Anne-Marie Mondrup from Better Choice. You spoke with Anne-Marie on the show floor. Talk about Better Choice.
I just have to add that, related to what we were just discussing, Better Choice was in a certain area inside the fair hall called Sustainability Insights Hub. However, they were the only exhibitor there. So I hope CIFF will
Well,
keep on with that
ca-
area, but that we will have at least
case in point. Case in
5 or
point.
10 exhibitors there. Yeah, it's a SaaS
Mm.
solution, quite new, or they've been around for a few years, and it's a very, very relevant topic that they're working on, and it's related to greenwashing and communication and the EU legislation.
All right, let's hear it. Here now, Annemanie Mondrup from Better Choice.
Okay, so my name's Anne, and I am from Better Choice, which is a SaaS tool to help brands and e-tailers and retailers to communicate about sustainability, what the sustainability efforts. And we are based in Copenhagen. We are a startup. We are from been 1.5 year around 1.5 year old. We have we have developed this tool where we have two products. One of them is, if you are a brand or if you are a retailer, we can help you with an overview of your sustainability performance on both your portfolio, your collections, or your product level. And then we also have something we call Better Choice Verify, which is a tool to help brands and retailers communicate about the sustainability efforts on product level. Because of all the legislation coming in, a lot of brands are struggling with what can we actually communicate about our products, and how can we communicate it in a way that makes sense for the end consumers. How can we make sure that it's actually relevant and it's something that will make them choose better products.
Yeah, this is a startup. You're very good in timing. It's a very hot topic. Do you feel that as well?
We started out in 2019. We had a platform for sustainable brands and products, and in order to find out how these brands and products were sustainable, we used our own framework to screen them, and we did that manually. But because of all the things going on in the fashion industry and with all the legislation coming, we could see that tool could actually be a big help for brands and retailers. So we wanted to make it available and have automated the process, so we can actually do it like within a few seconds. We can screen a product or website with the products, and we can give you a full overview of your sustainability performance based on our framework.
And also to change the texts on the website to avoid greenwashing.
Yes, we have this tool where we can actually go in and we screen what you have on your website, and we combine it with our framework, and with all the legal legislation coming in, we can actually tell you the different issues that pops up. For instance, if you're using a word like I'm a really sustainable brand, with the EU Green Claims Directive coming in, you are not allowed to say sustainable unless you can really document how you are sustainable. And you should explain how you're sustainable. So just saying I'm a sustainable brand doesn't really, it isn't good enough. So you can actually get fined for that. And with our tool, we can detect all these issues, and we'll give you a very easy possibility to just either erase the sentence completely, or also use another claim that's actually compliant with the legislation.
That was Annemanie Mondrup, co-founder and CEO of Better Choice. You also took the time to meet with one of the speakers from Transformation Conference, Daniel Di Benedetto. Daniel is the regional director, Euro North for Centric Software. Very interesting company. They are with us in Stockholm also for Transformation Conference. We're actually partnering up with them. Super happy about that. I think Centric is in a category of companies together with Impulso that we have been collaborating with before as well, which want to serve the fashion industry with just better data. We need to make choices based on better data. We need to let data inform how we plan our collections, how we limit overproduction, how we increase sell through, all these things. Super important. We did a deep dive on this in transformation conference, of course. But you took the chance to speak with Daniel ahead of the conference. So here now, Daniel Di Benedetto, Regional Director, Euro North for Centric Software.
So I work with Centric Software. It's an American company working with, let's say, data for the process from idea to purchase, really, for brands. So we develop software where you can manage the data across different disciplines in order to ultimately create the best collection to be released to the market. So before actually the product comes to the store.
What do your customers want right now? What are they asking for?
Well, the magic wand to make sure that they stay profitable while striving in a quite complex, I would say, economy at the moment for multiple reasons. We all know many of the reasons. And adding to that, also making sure that we always have a possibility to track and trace for sustainability. Meaning that it's not only what the consumer is supposed to ask for, if we call it that way, since there are regulations coming up and constantly evolving, I would say, a lot of new type of data insights is needed in order for these brands and producers to be able to even sell their products ultimately. And the trick here is really, your, as I call it, your data depth. So there is a depth because people normally try to make shortcuts. So you digit in whatever you have at hand, and then you say you save a lot for later. But I think that is also that becomes a growing problem. Because at the end of the process, when you're there, you have ordered your products, and in order then even to get them offshored into your warehouses, you're lacking data. Well, you can't even get the product into your store and sell it.
And we're here at CIFF for Transformation Conference, and you just took the stage. What did you talk about?
Well, we talked about this data depth. I hate the word, but because it's a difficult word, but it's also a very, very difficult challenge. So traditionally, the fashion, especially the fashion companies, have been very manual, paper-based. Excel, it's not paper, but more or less. And we realized that the connection of all these data points is important, and it starts to become, obvious that it's not only design and art that drives your ability to sell and be profitable. So I think that that has been the main type of topic debate.
All right, that was Daniel Di Benedetto from Centric Software. All right, last out, we have a very exciting Danish company, which I met in Copenhagen, I think 5 years ago or something. So we've been keeping track on them and been writing about them during the past few years. It's, of course, the VR innovators from Mand that had a very special show this time around. Johan, you were able to visit the exhibition. I kind of glanced at it on my way out. Unfortunately, it looked really awesome. But what was happening at Mand's booth at CIFF?
The best person to explain their exhibition is probably Kata, who you will soon hear. But what I found fascinating about the exhibition is that, and also as I mentioned in the interview, the VR technology was expected to see a huge rise also, of course, with the help of Apple and their tool. During the pandemic in particular and during the last few years, we haven't seen this development as of yet. But as Kata points out, the technology can also serve very educational, both for people on site and also that they're releasing a playbook for everyone to take part of online on their website. if a person or anyone interested wasn't able to go to CIFF. And they're now teaming up with the municipalities in order to introduce the VR technology and the message they want to promote in the exhibitions that they're showing to anyone interested, like the person on the street, but also, of course, industry insiders like you and me, and a lot of people at CIFF during their exhibition.
I think this is a great example where you can add another type of experience to a trade show like this. So let's talk to Kata Börönte, XR project manager at MAN.
Hi, my name is Kata, and I work for a company called MAN. It's a VR company and a spatial design company based in Copenhagen. And I work there as a project manager, an XR project manager, working on all kinds of projects. And I come partially from the academia, partially from fashion. So I'm a bit of a mix of everything that MAN works with.
We're here at CIFF and you present X-ray fashion. Tell us about it.
Actually, it's now X-ray fashion upcycled. X-ray fashion is the old name, and since we redid the installation, we made it lighter, both on the installation side and both on the tech side. So we call it X-ray fashion upcycled now. It is a VR documentary and installation about the fast fashion industry, and it's trying to shed light on how unethical and polluting the fast fashion industry is.
And how do you do it? It's a 15 minutes film on VR glasses.
Exactly. So it takes around 15 minutes to walk through it, and it's a combination of different elements. So if you walk through it now with the new version, it's going to be a bit more immersive and a bit more interactive. It's using hand tracking, so you walk through different scenes and you have to use your hands to advance in the scenes. And it's a mix of 3D elements and 360 videos, and yeah, that's pretty much it. And there are different scenes, focusing on different phases of the production of a garment. So you will walk through cotton fields, you will walk through polluted water because of all the dyeing, you will walk through a seamstress's workshop and different scenes like this. And you will see the whole story from the beginning to the ending of the life of a garment. Yeah.
So CIFF as an event is, of course, only for professionals, but your target group is quite wide, and it's been touring as well on several places before.
Yes, we really, really wanted to come to CIFF because we feel like it should be showcased in a space where there's so much fashion going on and maybe not so much focus on sustainability. And we really, really want the brands to see it, and of course everyone is very welcome. And it is touring, and it's been exhibited in different locations and different settings, and fashion fairs are definitely one of our targets. To bring the topic there and to really push it. But it's been in museums, it's been in festivals, it's been in all kinds of different settings. So we are very open to bring it to wherever people want to see it.
When you talk to the visitors, what do they say?
It's usually a very emotional journey for them. I think one thing is that it's a VR setting, so a lot of people are unfamiliar with the setting, so you kind of have to get used to being in this VR environment. But I think the message is very, very straightforward, and the story is very easy to follow, and I think that's why it's so powerful, because there's no bullshit, sorry for the word, and people can really follow it easily. That's what I want to say. So there's no confusion about what's going on, and when they come out, they're usually very touched and they're very emotional, and they start thinking about their own responsibilities, because it's meant to talk to you on a personal, individual level, to also reflect on your purchases and how you approach fashion and how you buy your clothes and how you take care of them, how you get rid of them. So it's a very personal journey usually. Yeah.
VR glasses haven't exploded as much as we might have thought during the pandemic when we were all at home. But it's of course growing and growing. What's your view on VR, and what do your partners say about the interest?
Of course, there's still a barrier because the tech is quite expensive and not so approachable. But I think in a setting like this, where it's open for the public and you don't have to have your own VR glasses to walk through something, then it's not so bad. And I think people really enjoy experimenting with it. I think it's quite fun. I can see it now, especially with the hand tracking and the interactive elements, that people really get into it, because before you didn't have to do anything, you just had to walk through it, and that was already very powerful. But I think it becomes more engaging and more playful, that you also do something with your hands and you're kind of part of the story even more. So I think when it's a public setting and it's available for audiences, it's not really a barrier anymore. Obviously, if you don't have your own VR glasses, then it's hard to get these experiences, but that's why we want to bring it to places so people can experience it.
And after CIFF this week, do you already know when and where people can experience it next time?
Yes, the next spot is also in Denmark. It's going to go to Jutland, and it's going to be there for 2 weeks. And it's actually a municipality that wanted to rent it out, because they also want to get familiar with VR and educate their own staff and the people in the municipality. So it's also a setting that is really, it can work very nicely. So that's the next destination.
So the target group really is broad, and this can also be an open call for property owners to fill their empty spaces with new experiences.
Yes, exactly. And then one other thing to mention maybe is that we also would really like to bring it to more educational settings. In this new setup, we also wrote a playbook for schools that can go with the experience. So we really want to bring it to younger audiences as well, so they get familiar with the message that we want to communicate. And the playbook is also available freely online, so you can also use it without seeing the experience. And in that playbook as well, we wanted to make sustainability approachable, easy, and not so overwhelming. And there are some exercises in there that you can do at home if you want to. So that's also one of the additional target groups, I think, that we didn't have before. Schools, yeah.
All right, that was Kata Börönte from the Danish VR XR company Mand. All right, Johan, again, great to be back. Great to be back in Copenhagen as per usual. And like you mentioned, very expensive for Swedes traveling there. So I was really happy to share a wonderful little Airbnb with you on our visit in Copenhagen. Maybe next time we'll can afford some hotel rooms. Who knows? Anyways, guys, loved seeing you in Copenhagen, and I love seeing our community in Stockholm on August 27 at Stockholm Fashion District. Go to scandinavianmind.com to sign up, and don't forget to sign up to our newsletters. Visit scandinavianmind.com/newsletters, and not to miss out on any of our content and upcoming events. All right, Johan, until next week, goodbye.
Goodbye.